And the doctor that I was seeing never, I think that it was so new to him that he didn't necessarily know how he was supposed to be monitoring my levels.
Mm.
So I never had like the therapeutic dose of testosterone. So I never got really the effects that I wanted. I just had some, like my voice got a lot deeper, and I got really horrible acne.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, this is a bummer
Right.
deal. But I got to a point in my transition where I realized that the next step for me would be a surgery, like probably top surgery. And I had to I researched it. And at that time, I struggled with a lot of mental illness. And I saw that it was really common for people to deal with depression immediately following a surgery like that.
Mm.
And I thought in my mind, like, it's more important for me to be able to just accept who I am and be comfortable in androgyny.
Uh-huh.
And I think that there was a lot of, still this inherent shame that I was dealing with. And that was the easiest answer for me socially, because it's so much easier to live not as a trans person. Like, goddamn, it's brutal sometimes.
Right.
So I stopped taking hormones for a few years, and I was just living right in the middle of like the gender spectrum pretty comfortably. And then I moved around, and I finally moved back to Boise, and I started working at a queer bar. And being surrounded by that all the time, I felt a lot more comfortable to kind of experiment with my gender.
Mhm.
And I ended up realizing, like, no, I was right.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. And I got back on hormones just last year.
Mm. And you were
So-
experiencing other people seeing you that way too. Like even,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like even if you weren't fully there yet, other people were like
Oh,
asking
totally.
you, like, are
Yeah.
you a they them, or are you,
Oh my gosh,
things, right? Because
yeah.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, I was working, and this lady came up, and like she thought she was an ally, and I think that maybe she was trying, but she asked a question. I had to leave the bar and help her with something, and she's just like, "Are you one of them he, she, thems?" And I was like, "Oh my god!" So I used it as my tagline, or as my bio on Facebook for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Like I started getting people just automatically defaulting to like he, him pronouns for me. And I was like not even on testosterone. I was like, that's weird. But it was also because politically it was becoming more prevalent
Visible.
and
Yeah.
seeing it in the news. Like
Yeah.
all these people that otherwise had no idea were like, oh, I heard about this transgender phenomenon. And like, so that I started being recognized for it a little bit more, which was...
It's like a mixed bag, right?
Yeah.
It's
It feels
like
almost
great.
dangerous sometimes, but it feels great.
Yeah, it's like affirming, and then also like, oh shoot,
Mhm.
they clocked me.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's like, if they're clocking me, then who else is clocking me? And it's fine if it's somebody who's like cool with us, or at least don't care.
Mhm.
But when it's the people who do have a problem, that's when it can make me a little nervous.
Oh,
And you just don't know. Like you
Mhm.
can come across those people all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And now those people are a lot louder, and it's definitely a nerve-wracking time.
Yeah.
So tell me more about your transition.
My transition.
Your
I
transition.
feel like I'm so new into it still, and I'm also still struggling with like where to look.
Me
So
too. We've got a lot
I'm like,
going
tell
on.
us what to do, people. So because I have a hard time like staring at like this and not you. So we'll do this, and we'll see what they have to say.
Okay. We'll do both.
You tell us.
I keep like catching glimpses at that one.
I know, right? I'm like, I don't know. So I think, because I think it also can be weird just to be staring at them and talking, you kind of got to cheat it a little bit. I think that's the word they use. Anyway, like I don't remember a lot of my childhood, so I don't remember below the age of 12. So I don't recall necessarily like ever thinking I was a girl or asking why or any of those sorts of things. I had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I had He-Man, but part of that was those were like acceptable dolls to have, as a boy or somebody being raised as a boy. And so I don't think I ever had the words or the thoughts, and maybe I did, I just don't recall them. And I've tried to talk with my family about it, and no one's let it out if I ever did, which I don't think really matters. I think for a long time, because I thought in order to be trans, you had to like feel like a woman trapped in a man's body. Like I never felt trapped in my body. But also like I didn't live in my body much. Like I didn't really know how to embody my body. until I transitioned. Like I didn't even really know what I was missing out on. And so it wasn't necessarily something that, I mean, I was constantly getting corrected as a kid for being feminine, what I would call feminine now. I think at the time it was my dad saying, like my dad trying to make me more of a man,
Right.
so that I would be safe in the world. You know what I mean? But I don't even think he was fully conscious of like trying to change me, or you know what I mean? I don't think it was a you're feminine kind of thing. It's just like I'm teaching you how to be a man kind of thing,
Yeah.
which it's a little nuanced, but
That
I don't.
makes sense,
But
though.
yeah, so like, but and I never read it that way as a kid. I just felt like I just was wrong. Like I just couldn't express myself in a way that was acceptable. I couldn't be comfortable and that be okay. And so I think it made me like a really nervous young person. And then I think getting into the gay world, as like a man, or understanding myself as a man at the time, I could be feminine. Like I could have those more flamboyant traits, and it was almost even expected to some degree.
Yeah.
And so it was almost like I could kind of like hide in that world for a little bit. And again, I didn't necessarily think like, oh, I'm a trans woman and I'm just gonna like be a gay person for a while. It's just like I never really thought about it.
Right.
It never quite fully fit, but I didn't know why.
Right.
I didn't think it was because of gender, and maybe it wasn't. Because I also think that like, I don't know. It's like when a lot of people talk about this too, when they go to meet with the doctor to talk to them about being trans, there's like this fear of not being trans enough.
Yeah.
And like I definitely had that fear, and I remember going in and it wasn't hard for me to like there's a whole path throughout my whole childhood that would scream, okay, trans woman, but also like, but maybe not necessarily, you know what I mean? It also could be some of the traits that people just equate to being a gay guy or a gay kid or queer kid or whatever. And so, yeah, I don't know where I was going.
That
with
makes
all
sense.
that.
There's like a lot of crossover.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.